Good day, class. Welcome to our session on statistics and probability. For today, we will discuss the first lesson for third quarter, and this is about random variables. For today's lessons, here are our objectives. First, illustrate a random variable. Second is find the possible values of a random variable and distinguish between discrete and continuous random variable. Let us start by defining a random variable. A random variable is a result of an event, activity, or a random experiment. It is a variable whose values are determined by chance. It is a numerical quantity that can be assigned to the outcome of an experiment. In order for us to understand random variable, we need to understand first sample space. Sample space is the set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment. Class, ano ba yung tinatawag na random experiment? Random experiment is an activity which can be done repeatedly under similar conditions, but the outcome of this activity is determined by chance. An experiment is random if, although it is repeated in the same manner, it can result to different outcomes. We cannot predict with certainty the outcome of the random experiment. The examples of random experiment are the following: rolling a die, tossing a coin, drawing lottery numbers, and taking a test. Class, you can do this activity repeatedly, but you cannot predict exactly what the outcome is. For example, when you roll a die, we know that there will be 6 possibilities. It's either that you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 because a die has 6 faces. But you cannot exactly predict kung ano talaga yung lalabas. Kung 1 ba, kung 2, 3, 4, or 5. When you toss a coin, alam natin na dalawa yung possibility, either head or tail. Pero when you toss a coin, hindi mo talaga exactly mapipredict with 100% certainty na tail yung lalabas or head yung lalabas. When you draw lottery numbers, for example, bumobola ka ng mga numero sa loto, hindi mo mapipredict exactly kung ano talaga yung lalabas na numero. Pero alam natin kung ang number doon is 1 to 40, 1 to 40 yung possibility na yung number na lalabas ay isa doon sa 1 to 40. And in the same manner, when you take a test, halimbawa, di mo mapipredict exactly kung ano yung makukuha mo na score dun sa test. Okay, these are example of random experiment. Let us try to understand a sample space through the use of a tree diagram. A tree diagram is a visual representation of a sample space. Let us use a tree diagram to illustrate tossing a 20 peso coin once. Kapag nag-toss tayo ng coin, dalawa ang posibleng outcome. It's either head or tail. Sample space is represented by the symbol S. Let us assign T for tail, and H for head, and S for sample space. In there, we can say that the possible outcomes would be T for head or H for head. So for our sample space, we have 2 outcomes. When writing sample space, we list all the possible outcomes separated by comma and enclosed in braces. For another experiment, tossing a coin twice, again, let us assign T for tail and H for head and S for sample space. For our sample space, we can write S is equals to TT, TH, HT, and H8. We have 4 outcomes here. Ibig sabihin nito, kapag nag-toss tayo ng coin ng 2 beses, maaaring ang lumabas sa una at pangalawa ay parehong tail, ang sumunod naman ay una, tail ang lalabas, sumunod naman ay head, sa pangatlo naman, head and tail, and then head and head. In rolling a die, the possible outcomes of this experiment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, since these are the numbers included in the faces of a die. So, the sample space is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here is another random experiment, rolling a die and tossing a coin. The possible outcome of this experiment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for a die being rolled once and head or tail for a coin being tossed once. The total sample space for this experiment is 12. So the faces of a die, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, is being paired with either a tail or a head of a coin. There is a total number of 12 outcomes here. Let us try this sample problem. Suppose a box contains 8 blue balls and 5 green balls. If 2 balls are taken from the box one after the other, determine the possible values of the random variable b representing the number of blue balls. This problem can be solved using a 3-step solution. The first step is we have to determine the sample space of the experiment and let B be the blue balls. So we just write here the sample space is BB. Ibig sabihin, sa una at pangalawang beses na dumukot ka ng bola, parehong blue ang iyong nakuha. Ang sumunod naman na possibility is sa unang pagkuha, blue ang nakuha mo at sa pangalawa ay green. Another possibility is the green ball and the blue ball. And the last one is parehong green ang iyong nakuha. So these 4 are the possible outcomes of the experiment. The next step, step 2, is count the number of blue balls in its outcome and assign this number to the outcome. Okay, so ang una natin is BB, ilang blue ball ang nakuha? So obviously, dalawa. Sa second natin is blue-green, so ilan ang blue doon? Siyempre, isa. And then green and blue, ilan ang blue? Isa. And then yung last na possibility is parehong green. Ilan ang blue doon? Wala, kasi parehong green. So, yun lang. So, ilalagay mo sa table yung outcome ng experiment. And the last step, step 3, is determine the values of the random variable. And the value of the random variable, B, representing blue balls in this experiment, are 0, 1, and 2. So, class, ganun lang kasimple itong procedure natin sa pag-determine ng value ng random variable. Ngayon, class, dumako naman tayo sa types ng random variables. May dalawang uri ng random variables. Ang una ay discrete at ang pangalawa ay continuous. A random variable is discrete if the possible values form a finite or countable set of numbers. On the other hand, a continuous random variable are those variables that can be drawn from experiment wherein its possible values are products of measurement. Para mas madali ninyong maunawaan ang pagkakaiba ng dalawang uri ng random variables, tandaan nyo lang itong definition ito. A random variable that can be counted is known as discrete random variable, and a random variable that can be measured is known as continuous random variable. Ibig sabihin, kapag nabibilang yung value ng variable, ito ay discrete, at kapag na-measure naman, iyon ay continuous. To help you understand more the difference between discrete and continuous random variable, listen to this example. For discrete random variable, here are the examples. number of COVID-19 positive in a day, number of vehicles passing along EDSA, number of dropouts by the end of the first semester, number of babies born in a day, total sales of a grocery store, and number of teachers who passed the licensure exam. As you can see, all the data here in our example for discrete random variables are countable. For continuous random variable, here are the examples. Average volume of blood donated per Philippine Red Cross, average temperature in a week, average height of rambutan trees in Calawacan DRT, total amount of rainfall in Central Luzon due to Typhoon Ulysses, and weight of grade 11 students in San Miguel National High School. As you can see, sa mga example natin ng continuous random variables, ang mga data dito ay hindi countable. The data for continuous random variables are measurable and not countable. In general, quantities such as pressure, height, mass, weight, density, volume, temperature, and distance are examples of continuous random variables. Discrete random variables would usually but not necessarily come from counting. Say the number of patients in the hospital, the number of attendees in this online class, or the number of people vaccinated in a day. Class, remember, money is a discrete quantity. So sales, income, or any amount of money is considered discrete. Your allowance in a week, the money you receive from your parents' income for a month, or the money you spend for grocery is considered discrete. So time is a continuous variable. So the amount of time to reach a destination or to build a house is continuous. But you can turn age into a discrete variable. For example, a person's age in years, a baby's age in month is considered discrete. Age is commonly measured in years, which would make it a discrete variable. I hope you learned something from this video lesson. If you have question, you may send a message through our GC. Thank you and see you again in our next lesson.